Welcome back to our statistic learning session. Today, I'll be talking about some examples of hypothesis testing. There are two examples. One is fair coin example and one is news on YouTube example. Today, we will focus on specifically fair coin example. In this example, the level alpha for level alpha of the test is 5% and Q alpha by 2 is 1.96 and alpha q is alpha q is 1.645. In this hypothesis testing, we have to remember a few things. We need to go back to our previous test and see what's the mean or sample average for this hypothesis test. What is sample average? The sample average for this test was, let me go back and check it because we did that earlier. It was 0.43. It was 0.43. The sample average for this test was 0.43. And what was the normalized value of this sample average, or what is the value of Tn for this one? Let me go and check again. It was minus 0.77. That is a normalized value for Xn bar. Tn was 0.77. This is the normalized value for the Xn bar. Now, what we need to do is we need to put this value in our machine and see if this value is greater or smaller than 5%. That's what we want to know. Our test says that if Tn is greater than Q alpha by 2, then we reject it. Then we reject H naught. Is Tn greater than Q alpha by 2? What is Tn here? 0.77. What is Q alpha by 2? 0.96. Is 0.77 greater than 1.96? No, it is smaller than 1.96. Should we reject this or should we not reject H naught? We should reject, we should not reject H naught because 0.77 is smaller than 1.96. We fail to reject here. Now let's just see why do we need why we are saying Q alpha by 2? Why not just say Q alpha? Why is that? We are saying Q alpha by 2 because this is two-sided test. If it was a one-sided test, then it would be Q alpha, which is equal to 1.645. We will use Q alpha in one-sided test. The another example that does Q alpha is news on YouTube. That is a one-sided test and it uses Q alpha equal to 1.645 instead of 1.96. What happens if Q alpha is less? If Q alpha is less, let's say Q of alpha is some value of C. What happens if value of C is less? If value of C is less, then it gives us more range to reject the H naught. If value of C is high, then we cannot, there's a less probability of rejecting H naught. When we are doing experiments, you always want to reject because rejection means scientific discovery. If you fail to reject, then nothing has changed. It is status quo. So you want this value of C as small as possible such that you have more opportunity to reject and discover something. Now let's say if I replace this value of C with 2.75, then when you run this test, you'll be always rejecting and you will not discover anything. So that's much for today. Let me quickly summarize what we discussed today. We talked about fair cone example. We saw that it has a sample average of 0.43 and the test statistics was minus 0.77. When we compare the absolute value of Tn to Q alpha by 2, because it was a two-sided test, it was smaller than Q alpha by 2. Hence, we failed to reject it. That's all for today. I will see you next learning session. Thank you so much.